Great. So, which leads me to the next question, which I want to ask you, which is, do you recommend spending some time every day on LinkedIn? So, do you have any kind of ritual that you recommend my audience to follow? To get
Yes.
or to maximize their ability to create more impact on LinkedIn.
Yes. So consistency is key. I'm glad you brought that up because the more consistent you are, you're training LinkedIn's algorithm to show you stuff, basically. So here's what I would do, and here's what I do every day. Number one, I always open and scan the news feed, which is the home page.
Mm-hmm.
And I look for opportunities to engage with people, both that I know and that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I mean by that, to break that down further. Number one, I look for my clients.
Okay.
And I try to show them that they're seen by making a comment on their posts, helping them. Okay. Number two, I scan quickly to see if anybody asks a question. I can answer a lot of questions for people that might not be my expertise, but somebody might say, does anyone know a graphic designer in Minneapolis? And I could chime in and say, yeah, here's who I recommend. Be helpful. That's tip number two. Find ways to be helpful. And number three is the third thing I do is I scan for conversations where I can share my expertise. So I do that in a couple of ways. I can either search hashtags to find conversations I can jump in, or as I scan that feed, I look for conversations I can add value to.
Perfect.
So I do all this in about 10 minutes. Okay, this is not a big time consuming. It's that I do it every day.
Right.
The second thing I do after I scan the feed is I click on the activities notifications tab to see if what's happening in my network. So LinkedIn does help you, right? You just need to go to the notifications, see what's happening in your network, see if someone responded to your post, and you could respond back. See what's happening. So I always look at notifications. And the third thing I do is I look at my invitations. Now, here's a tip on going back to your previous question. If you didn't send me a personal invitation, I skip all of those first.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So
which is a note, right?
Yes.
If I don't leave a note. Okay.
You don't leave a note. My feeling is I'll get around to you at some point, but you're not priority to me because you didn't take the time to even leave me a note. So I scan first for the invitations where people wrote me a note and I respond to them right away.
Right.
So it depends on how many connections I get. I mean, if you're getting 15 a day, that's a lot of people to sift through.
Right. Absolutely.
So I do these activities that I just mentioned, those three things. I usually do them first thing in the morning, and I also do it late in the afternoon.
Okay.
But I do it every day.
Perfect.
So
for someone who spends,
pardon me?
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what happens is people will say to me, JoAnne, I see you everywhere. It's not that I'm everywhere, it's that you're not. See my point? So I'm showing up. LinkedIn is showing my stuff because they see I'm active all the time.
Right.
So it does pay off being consistent.
Absolutely. Being visible, right? That's why a lot of people attend a lot of networking events and things like that, and after attending a dozen networking interview, the one that you've been seeing all the time, they buy from you finally.
Yes.
So with
Yes.
LinkedIn, you can actually, shortcut bypass all that flight time and paying for hotel expenses and paying for the tickets and things like that, and get the same result by being
Yep.
present.
Absolutely. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday that last time I talked to her was 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And she remembered me. She sees my things and she reached out to me for some help. So
Right.
visibility does create opportunity.
Absolutely. All right. So for someone who invests that much of time and efforts in LinkedIn, it's definitely worth upgrading to Sales Navigator. Is that right?
Um, Not necessarily. And
Oh, wow. Okay.
here's why I want to say that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I find that most people I work with have not even exhausted the free version. So
Okay.
here's what I would say to you. Get good at using the free version before you pay.
Okay.
If you're doing a lot of searching, yes, at some point LinkedIn is going to kind of slap your hand and say you need to upgrade your account.
Right.
But I do
Till then,
lots of trainings for
yeah.
companies, right? And I ask
Uh-huh.
people how many get that, and nobody does. It's because they're not using the free version. So
Right.
don't pay for something you're not using.
Wow. I've been
Yeah.
paying for the Sales Navigator without even, utilizing the free version's ability, but, this is a good conversation, JoAnne. I really enjoy it.